Welcome to this TNR training video on colony management. I'm your host Athena. This video is part of a series designed to help new TNR volunteers with Campus Cats of Athens, Georgia. If you're not with Campus Cats, I hope this video is helpful to you as well. Just keep in mind that some of the specific references won't apply to your situation. Let's start off with a question. Which situation constitutes an emergency for your colony? A. An angry neighbor is shooting cats on site. B. You don't have enough volunteers for a week-long observation. C. One of your cats is limping. D. A torrential rain is forecast. Pause the video, think about your answer, and push play again when you're ready to continue. A is correct. A person shooting cats in the colony constitutes an emergency situation and a direct threat to the cats' lives, so trapping immediately and without the typical observation period is definitely warranted. In this situation, you would also want to relocate the cats to a barn program to permanently remove them from this danger. Now we'll talk about why colony management is important to your entire TNR project. Take a couple of minutes now to think about why good colony management is important for your trapping project. First, proper colony management allows you to be efficient in your TNR project, getting the most out of your limited time. Second, following some basic guidelines will help you to manage your colony within local ordinances and without stepping on property owners' toes. Third, good colony management helps keep cats healthy and safe. Let's talk about what to do with your colony before you even start trapping. Take a moment now to think about colony management tasks you should consider before you start trapping. What do you remember from the group training session about this? You want to start by assessing the situation with your colony. Next, you assess the colony itself. You also want to talk with neighbors and nearby home and business owners. Finally, you'll do some things to acclimate colony cats to make trapping go more smoothly. We'll talk about each of these steps next. Let's talk in more detail about assessing the situation before you trap. What do you remember from group training about assessing your colony's situation? What are the most important things to consider before proceeding with trapping? In assessing the situation, you determine whether the colony is in any immediate danger that would make it an emergency to trap immediately. Examples of things that make a situation a trapping emergency include direct threats to the cats, like being in danger of being poisoned, shot, or from a natural disaster; threats to the cat's shelter, like the demolition of buildings; or threats to the land the colony lives on, like being bulldozed for a development project. In all of these situations, you would want to trap all the cats in the colony as fast as possible and forego the initial observation and talking with the neighbors phase. If you've determined that you don't have an emergency situation, the next steps involve assessing your colony. Now think for a moment about assessing your colony itself. What does this mean? What should you watch for? What kind of information should you record? Making careful observation records of the colony before trying to trap can make your TNR project much more efficient. Spend a few hours just watching for the following. How many cats are in your colony? This is critical because it determines how long it will take and how much it will cost to complete your trapping project. What do the cats look like? Check out our video on feline coat coloration if you need help with this. Can you determine the sex of any of the cats? If so, include that in your observation record. Watch for interactions among cats. Are some always harassing others? Always first to the feeding site? Always last to the feeding site? Knowing this will give you an estimate of which cats you're likely to trap first. The ones that are boldest and first at the food are usually the first to be trapped. When are the cats most active? The answer to this question is usually around dusk, but some cats might not come to your feeding site until midnight. Knowing this will tell you whether you'll have to leave traps out overnight if it's safe to do so, or to have a very late trapping session if you can't leave traps unattended. Now let's talk about interacting with the public near your colony site. What do you remember from training about talking with the public regarding your trapping project? Who should you talk to specifically? What do you want to make sure you bring up? It's a good idea to talk with people who live or work near your colony to get their buy-in on the project. This is an important aspect of every TNR plan because it can improve your success and spread the word about the benefits of TNR. Tell people your plan for TNR of the colony and why it's beneficial. Bring informational material for people who want to learn more. Tell people that you'll inform them when you'll be trapping and that it's important that they keep their own cats indoors at those times, don't leave food outside, and don't approach the trap site so the cats you want to trap aren't scared away. Now let's look at how to get the colony ready for trapping. Think for a couple of minutes now about acclimating cats to trapping. What do you remember from training about this topic? What things should you do? Why do these matter? week or two before trapping, establish a set feeding time or times so cats get used to coming to the site at those times. This makes it much easier to trap them than if they're visiting the site randomly throughout the day. Put food consistently in the same location and use some sort of dish rather than spreading it on the ground. Depending on the size of your colony, you could use bowls, baking pans, or plastic containers. This gets cats used to the idea of food in a container, so the bait in a container won't look quite as unusual when you put it out in your traps for your trapping session. Set out traps that have been zip-tied or locked open somehow and put some food in them. These dummy traps will get cats used to seeing traps and even eating out of them, which can make your actual trapping session much faster. Now let's look at colony management after you've finished trapping and all your cats have been released. What are some post-trapping items you'll want to do? Why are they important for managing your colony? Think about this for a couple of minutes. Be sure to familiarize yourself with your county ordinances related to cat colonies. These can differ greatly from one county to another, and the last thing you want is for your colony to be in danger because you overlooked the law. In some counties, colony registration is required, so make sure you follow these rules if they apply. Keep organized veterinary records along with your colony observations. Monitor the colony continuously for new cats, illnesses, or anything else that might need your attention. There are several possible changes you might notice in your colony after cats have been spayed or neutered as a result of lowered hormone levels. Cats are likely to gain some weight as a result of the urge to roam around and fight being decreased. Lower aggression is also common. Some cats might even become tame and eventually be adoptable. There are likely to be far fewer complaints from people near the colony about things like yowling, fighting, and spraying. Let's finish up with another question. Why is it beneficial to feed colonies on a set schedule? A. Cats might become tame. B. There'll be fewer complaints from neighbors. C. Lower aggression. Or D. Trapping is more efficient. Pause the video, think about your answer, and push play again when you're ready to move on. D is correct. Feeding on a set schedule makes trapping much more efficient because cats come to the feeding site near their typical food time rather than scattered throughout the day and night, making it easier for you to set up traps around their feeding time and catch cats much more quickly. I hope this video on colony management was helpful. Thanks to Kelly for the use of some of her photos here. Thanks for watching, and best of luck with your trapping project.